Hello, welcome. Good afternoon to the day one of India Global Education and Skill Summit hosted by the Government of Telangana Higher Education and Technical Education Department with the program chair Mr. Naveen Mittal, IAS Commissioner for Collegiate and Technical Education Department, and organized by IndiGlobal Media Network. We had an amazing opening session today with presence of policymakers from Telangana, Haryana, and Andhra Pradesh, and leaders from the space of school education from across the country, followed by few technical presentation. Now we have yet another interesting session, that is globalization of Indian education, administrative and business challenges. And for this, we have uh, uh, special guests who are heading the school education space, the leaders from the school education. And we are also joined by a special guest who has been a administrative leader, a passionate administrator, a senior IAS officer with the state of Telangana. She played a crucial role and spearheaded recycling initiatives through Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. She has been on the forefront in turning Hyderabad a recycling hub, which is part of waste management. And currently, she is the district collector for the Narayanpet district in the state of Telangana, transforming, taking several initiatives. She would be talking about the educational initiatives that's been taken in the district of uh, Narayanpet. Next up, we have a leader in the school education space. He is also a inspirational uh, leader, and he's also an author for the book called One More Step. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Chandrashekhar DP, CEO for JGI Schools, Hyderabad, Telangana. Welcome, Dr. Chandrashekhar. Thanks for joining us. We are
Thank you,
also
Mr.
joined.
Sudheer.
We are also joined by yet another leader in the school space. We can say she's a complete leader in school education, given her background and years of experience from in various uh, parts of school education. She has been there altogether. Mistress Pratima Sinha, CEO for DSR Education Society. Thank you very much, Mr. Sinha, for joining us. So, by the time our special guest joins us, let us start the conversation and the panel discussion on globalization of Indian education, administrative and business challenges. Just before we could start off, we were talking about the challenges and the initiatives that's been done. So, our session would be on the training of teachers and other staff to maintain global standards vis-a-vis Indian schools towards sustainable development goals, regulatory issues. So I would come to Dr. Chandrasekhar, who's the CEO for JGI Schools. We are also joined by our special guest, as I mentioned, a compassionate and passionate administrative leader, an IAS officer of 2010 batch. She's been a leader and spearheading the recycling initiatives in the state, in the capital city of Telangana, that is Hyderabad, as the additional commissioner, Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. She is an environmentalist by heart and currently serving as district collector, Narayanpet district in Telangana. Thank you very much for joining us, Ms. Harichandana Das. If you can have the microphone unmuted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Sudheer, and my co-panelists, Dr. Chandrasekhar and Pratima, for being. It's nice to see IndiGlobal's conference going on for the first time, and also to hear from all the educationists around this place. I'm very happy to note that all the children are getting back to school, and this time, these last 2 years have been tough on all children at all levels, because digital education was a little tough for them in terms of a systemic change. But I'm sure our educationists, all of them have risen up to, including the government schools, they have risen up to the challenge, and they have found different and innovative solutions to keep children on track, as well as make the transition smooth from online education again back to schools these days. So it's a very interesting session that you've had previously, going on from morning. And I would just say that, even when we look at the future, we are looking at, we have to balance out between both, again, digital education as well as physical education, because we don't know how the pandemic mutates, or how the virus is going to take different shapes. And we also notice that children have to be vaccinated in future. So how are we going to do all that? These are all challenges which are there in front of our educationists still. So all of us have to rise up to the challenge. Even at the policy level, we see that we have to manage the issues at the policy making level. So I wish this discussion takes on all these parameters into consideration. Also, many a times I have realized that visual appeal during this COVID. I have a toddler, so visual appeal, which was there with the online digital education, is something probably which has captured the attention of children, because they also spend quite a lot of online time in terms of gaming or other things. So if we can creatively engage them, we can use this platform and the kind of training that has been going on, and combine both offline and offline online education. So how is it going to work? Maybe we have to think on those lines and see that it is integrated. Maybe half home studies also, where parents are more involved. And I find personally, and I'm sure many of you will agree, that wherever the parents or some elders are invested in the child's education, they tend to perform better. This is what we have been noticing, because I work with a lot of government schools, and I keep thinking these kids are bright enough. Why are they not able to catch up on some parameters? This is where I think the parents' education profile, or the parents' time that they invest, or the importance that the parents give for education, including, if your parents are constantly telling you, sit there and study, or this is important for you, this is important for your life, then the impact is much more evident. So we need to think of how to involve parents also in the education system, and see that the importance of education reaches out to them, either online, offline, or whatever way possible. We have to see that parents again realize the importance, and also give enough time and focus on their kids' education, so that the gap that we've had over these last 2 years is not lost, and the kids are all on even platform. So, having shared my few thoughts, I will leave it to the other panelists to discuss on these issues further. And I should say I'm very proud of our education system across the country, because within a very short time of the pandemic and the lockdown, every school I realized, including the government schools, which we were doing through the chat network and through the Doordarshan TV channels. In fact, even some of our government teachers had taken up WhatsApp classes to students in 10s and 20s. So our teachers, our education system, all of them have risen to the challenge and have proven that we can face any challenge possible in seeing that our education system does not fail and the continuity is maintained for children in terms of education. So I should compliment them for coming out with innovative solutions during these testing times, and also continuing to do so because even now every day we are thinking on our feet and changing as per the need and the requirement as we go along. So my best wishes to all the educationists who have been contributing to this phenomena, and also further thoughts on it are welcome. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, IndiGlobal and Sudheer, for making me a part of this session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that special address, Mr. Dasari, for joining us. With this, we will move to the panel discussion. Uh, I would come to Dr. Chandrasekhar. The globalization of Indian education, administrative and business challenges. As you both, Mrs. Pratima Sinha as well as Dr. Chandrasekhar, are heading a school chain. They're running it even in this pandemic, as Mr. Dasari has mentioned. The fraternity of education fraternity has risen up to these challenges. Now, I would like to know from Dr. Chandrasekhar, how is the training of teachers and staff in your school is being done and the global standards are being maintained? Over to you, Dr. Chandrasekhar.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Sudheer, once again for this opportunity and also this question. First of all, let me extend my greetings and best wishes to the panelists and also the bureaucrat here, the IAS officer, Madam Harichandana, Madam. I have followed her work. In fact, we belong to the West Zone. We have schools in the West Zone when Madam was there, and also with the Haritaharam initiative and all that. So, as you rightly introduced her, she is an environmentalist at heart, and it was evident in all the work she was doing. I agree with ma'am when she spoke about the way the Indian education system and the educators particularly have risen to the occasion. Let me quote one simple example from my own institution, from my own school. It was in 2017, 2018, where that academic year we were trying to get into some amount of digitization, where we wanted teachers to create learning resources online and other things. So, in that context, we had to have all the teachers go in for a email account. Okay, and it may sound very strange, but some of the language teachers like Hindi and other languages, they were not having any email accounts and they did not feel it is very important. Now, I had to literally spend 30-40 minutes to convince a Hindi teacher to create an email account and tell her that this is what you need to do so that you can compile all the resources and it becomes so easy on PowerPoint or Word, Excel, or whatever. And somehow I convinced her, but it took me not less than 30-40 minutes. Now, today, fast forward 3 years, that is 2019, COVID almost entered, but 2020 is when it came into India for us. And in 2020, that same teacher has a Google Classroom, right? And she's connecting to hundreds and hundreds of students across, not just in Hyderabad, because we are a chain school. We have schools in Nagpur, Maharashtra, as well as Aurangabad, Raipur, and other places, and also Karnataka, everywhere. So she's able to connect with all these students through her Google Classroom. Now, from then, where she was not even convinced on having an email ID, to doing a Google Classroom and reaching out to hundreds and thousands of students, you can see and imagine that case study is a study of almost all the teachers, especially from those backgrounds, especially from tier 2, tier 3 cities, where they don't feel that technology was very integral to their classroom teaching. So I think I will start off by saying that training is important in the globalized world, in the new normal, but I think major portion of the training is connected to the will itself, because the will comes from within, And if they are able to bring that to the forefront, then any institution, be it our institution, be it government institutions, or be it other private institutions, can add the skill component through the training. So I would like to say that the will comes before the skill. And what COVID has done is COVID has clearly put the entire world on a fast track where the will is tested for everyone. I mean, we keep saying this, from the billionaire till the pauper is affected with COVID, and it is testing them for new adoptions and getting them comfortable with the new normal. So I think it all begins from there. Now, coming to the next part of your question, in terms of what are we doing to train our teachers, how can we take this forward? I think the simple methodology we need to do is, one, keep a tab on the changing trends and try to facilitate and enable our educators to quickly adapt to those changing trends, because nothing is permanent. And we have understood that, in fact, now at least things are little okay in terms of we can predict the next 3, 4, 5 days or a week. But 6 months ago, we were not even sure of what's going to happen next morning, right? So we need to keep a tab on the changing trends and then empower, enable, and support our teachers to be ready to adopt to those changes. And the second thing is also try to give them emotional support. Emotional health and emotional wellness is another integral part, because what is seen in the screen or on the screen is just one tip of the iceberg. We know that teachers are going through a lot of things, be it handling the online classes from the confines of their homes. I mean, not every home is equipped for an online classroom, but teachers are still doing that, balancing their family. Some of them have their parents, in laws, young children at home, and they have to balance all of that and still be perfect and professional in the classroom on the screen. So that takes away a lot of emotional energy. Second, of course, is they have to balance their home as well as the office. Now everything is shrinked into very narrow timelines, and everybody has to follow that. So that also taxes a lot on their emotional energy. So emotional well-being, in fact, at least in Jain Group, we have invested heavily in the last 2.5, 3 months on taking care of the emotional health and wellness of our teachers, because I think 15, 16 months, all of us were trying to look at what's happening and how to handle the situation, how to get in control, and how to do our job in the manner which is respected and acceptable by the stakeholders, all of that. But at least last 2, 3 months, we are able to focus on trying to get comfortable. And one last point I want to make is what our special address mentioned, that is the whole topic of how can we be ready for hybrid, because hybrid is going to be here and it is going to continue going forward. Now we don't have to operate from the mindset that, okay, the minute COVID is over, everything comes back to pre 2020 levels. No, it doesn't work like that. And I'm sure that everybody understands that we cannot go back in time, even metaphorically. But at the same time, how are we equipping ourselves to be ready for a hybrid education? Because in a school, when you say K to 12, different classes have different requirements. Now we cannot approach or handle this from the mindset that one size fits everyone. So we need to be very careful and clear about it. And let me be honest and candid in admitting that we are still figuring it out. We are trying to figure out how can we make that happen. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Now I would come to Mr. Pratima Sinha for her initial remarks towards the training of teachers and the global standards.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, IndiGlobal and Telangana government who have invited us today for this panel. And lovely words from Ms. Dasri. We totally agree with what she spoke today. And to continue with Dr. Chandrasekhar's, talk about, he was talking about 3 years. I talk about my journey. In 1990, when I did my B.Ed, computer science was just introduced. And they gave us an option that you either take computer science or you go in for either psychology or some other subject. I don't even remember now. I was so excited and so scared, but I knew that I have to take computer science because I knew that tomorrow it will be useful for me. So that is long time back. Now I would like to actually right now first talk about when we were working in physical schools. Not this is before pandemic. Uh, Training programs for the teachers used to be just maybe during the summertime or the Sera vacation, or maybe during the Sankranti vacation. Maybe one or two trainings used to be organized because every trainer used to come to the school used to charge a bomb. It was very expensive, and many schools never kept professional development as a budget in their finances. Yearly finances, when we make, many schools didn't have professional development as one of the categories to keep the finances aside. But now, with the pandemic coming in and with online sessions and online classes, we are connected worldwide. So I feel, a plethora of activities, a plethora of, new ideas and new strategies have opened up for the teachers. We are organizing seminars, we are conducting sessions, we are conducting discussions. New strategies are coming up from different parts of the world, and this is what is actually required. Even if we go back to our physical scenario, this keep in touch around the world for the teachers has to, it has become the new norm, and I would say it should continue to do so, because the way, as Chandrasekhar sir told, that the teachers have really changed themselves. They have learn the new ways of teaching, the technology. They are using Microsoft, Google. They've made their class, their room, their bedroom into a classroom. The corner of the bedroom is a classroom. So all these things are happening, and of course we had to train them a lot. In terms of counseling them, in terms of motivating them, that yes, you can do it. So those things were going behind the scene, behind the screen, behind the scene, that yes, all the time they were being motivated. You're doing extremely well. We were connecting them with each other. Any good practice across used to be shown to them. And I feel now that our teachers are really coming up with such wonderful, creative and innovative strategies. In fact, yesterday I had a meeting with one of our center's parents, and they were saying, "Ma'am, our children have not really missed out on anything." So this is what I think the this particular scenario has created. The connectivity and the confidence level of the teachers have really grown high. So this is how I feel. I hope the system continues the same way.
Great, ma'am, for sharing those inputs. Now, we would like to know that the scenario. Usually, there are schools which are maybe based on the syllabus. They are called as international schools. Uh, of course, CBSE schools and state level schools are there. We would like to know the standards, global standards vis-a-vis Indian schools. Your take on that, Dr. Chandrasekhar.
Well, I think, see, first of all, let me tell it very openly that there are certain levels of standards which every school should focus on and abide to. And that has got nothing to do with the curriculum or the board you offer. I mean, it's not about the state board, it's not about the central board, be it CBSE or ICSE or even international boards, or for that matter, even schools which are operating outside of India as well. So there are certain standards. So fundamentally, number one is the safety and security of the child. Number two is the way you do the teaching and the learning the infrastructure or the physical environment you create for those things. Number three is how conducive is your space, learning space, for activity based learning, or project based learning, or many other things, like the influence of the society, because as we know that school is not an isolated setup, it's a part of the society. And the walls of the school, although you may have a boundary wall, but they have to be permeable to outsiders. When I say outsiders, the members of the community, to kind of seamlessly integrate to the academic schedule and the calendar. Now these are the standards which I think every school will and must follow. And I keep getting information, and I also follow a lot of schools in India who are doing fantastic and phenomenal work when it comes to meeting these standards and also pushing those standards continuously towards excellence. Now, if I have to talk about a couple of case studies, I think the one thing is, let's talk from the Telangana government itself, the Telangana School Innovation Challenge, which the government is creating for schools. And I don't think government of Telangana is telling that okay, it is only meant for state board schools or Cambridge schools or IGCSE schools or whatever. It is keeping it open for all the schools, and all children should participate and can participate and showcase their ideas and talent and whatever it is when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship. So taking that as an example, I think the real standard for any school should be in pushing the child towards converting the inherent potential into reality. Okay, the untapped potential which is there within the child, that should come out to reality. And I mean, as they say, right, many rivers may originate at different places, but finally the end destination is a ocean. So same way, irrespective of whichever school and whatever curriculum and whatever gender of the child is, the talent and the potential should be encouraged and exposed to the larger world. I think that's the key role of a school. And in achieving that, if we are able to keep up our standards, then I think we will definitely meet global standards.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar. I'll come back to your following question. Ma'am, Sinha ma'am, we would like to have your take on that.
Yeah, so the other day I had a visit from a gentleman from Denmark, Mr. Ralph. He is in Hyderabad for 6 months because his wife is working some training program. So he came and met me, and I really found him very interesting. He was principal in one of the schools in Denmark. So he gave me a presentation of how the schools work there. And the difference that I really found was, yes, all our schools, they focus a lot on academics, but somewhere we have lost in the life values and the life skills. So he told me that, ma'am, in our schools, we first focus on these areas. When we feel the child is confident, independent, then we move towards the academic excellence. So I feel somewhere we also need to understand this strategy and adopt it, because see, we have seen the schools in Japan, right? Right from primary till grade 12, the students there, even the senior students, the girls, they are cleaning up the whole school after the school is over. There are no janitors, there are no didis, there are no bhaiyas to do all that work. Why can't we bring that kind of skills in our students? So this is where I feel we are lacking. Somewhere we have not gone right. Bal Bhavan in Hyderabad, it's such a beautiful place. They have such lovely teachers for art, music, dance, but none of the private schools know about it. We don't know that it is provided, this facility is provided free of charge for the students, or I think they charge us such some 10 rupees per month or something like that. As school, nobody has approached us. I'd gone there for being a judge for one of their competitions or something, I remember. And I was just thinking we have so much here, but still we are not giving that exposure to our students. It is lying in a state of neglect. I'm very sorry to say that, but this is what I had seen. So somewhere we are too much, focusing on the grades. We are focusing too much on the IIT preparations and things like that. But when it comes to the life skills, when it comes to the 21st century skills that the child really, really needs for the future, that is where I think somewhere we have to connect globally. We have to think otherwise and start working on it. And let me tell you, it's not that schools are not doing it. There are many, many schools who have started working on it, because this is the time that everybody felt that we need to change ourselves drastically. We need to actually change our curriculum. We need to bring in vocational training. And I'm so happy that NEP has actually mentioned all these areas for improvement in our education system, because if we really follow it religiously, I'm sure our schools will not only showcase academic excellence, they will also showcase an overall proper development of the student. So when the child leaves our school premises, he will be an independent, confident person who can actually sustain on his own.
Absolutely. You rightly mentioned, ma'am, life skills needed for students. More and more academic stress is given. Uh, Usually,
Today also, I'm sorry to interrupt. Delhi University, the cutoff is 99%. The cutoff, the admission, it's really disheartening. We have students who are, maybe they're good in something else. They may not be, good at rote learning, but they have no chance. There's nothing for them. That is why
yeah.
they're groping. That is why we have so many societal tendency that we see in youngsters today. We deal with youngsters day in and day out. We know what they are going through, the pressure from the parents. So why can't we change our system? Why can't it start from the central government? Even Delhi University today, I was reading, is they're closing on 99%. Then where do we actually talk to the children? No, you are also good in something if you're good at art. So somewhere we have to sit down and take a drastic
So it's kind of the life skills are confined to school education, and also the parents are supposed to be the life skill coach, coach for that.
No,
Uh,
I'm happy during pandemic. I'm so happy that during pandemic, parents were sitting next to the child and understanding how the teacher is teaching and actually connecting with them. Otherwise, a parent, used to think that once you've sent the child to the school, that's it. Their work is done. But I'm
yeah.
happy today the parent is understanding how the teacher prepares herself, how the teacher conducts herself, how the teacher is teaching, what is the teaching objective, learning objective, and so on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now I would come to Ms. Dasari. You have been in Hyderabad and you have been part of several district administration. Now you are head of Narayanpet district. We would like to know towards the quality and standards of education that's being provided through the administration out there. One, what are the initiatives that's being taken there? Smart classes and the quality of education in Narayanpet
Yeah,
district.
yeah, actually, like everywhere else, which has been a phenomena in the country, we have also started with online classes, and I have about 1,200 government schools, and then another few private schools in the district. So we had the same challenges which my colleague panelist had shared. Everywhere it was the same issue, how to reach the students, but we've also found different innovative solutions. I had one major challenge. It is that Narayanpet is a rural area, so there were some connectivity issues. and children could not access digital education on time. So what we did was to overcome this issue from the administration side. We have kept smart TVs in all the government schools. So wherever the students could not have enough reception on their mobiles, or they did not have digital access, they could just come to the school and see the classes live. Also, we staggered the students so that they come in 4 or 5 numbers, so that the room is not full and they don't have any issues. And the videos were shared. So the video was recorded. There was a live classroom session. We used to record the videos, and the students could play it at any time they wanted in their local premises. So we could bring in the local leaders, the sarpanches, and all to do it. And another issue we had was most of the online classes finished by half day. So the students were all outside most of the time, and parents didn't know how to stop them from coming out. Because during the lockdown period, we was telling them not to come out of their homes also. So to keep them engaged, we tried teaching coding skills to rural students, and this was a very successful program which we could do. With the pilot, around 400 rural children were trained in coding, and Dr. Chandrashekhar had mentioned before about innovations which the government is encouraging. So this was done with the help of the IT department of Telangana. And post that 400 students getting trained in coding classes, and this gave them such a confidence about life skills. It was like many people thought that this is only an urban phenomenon, only kids from urban schools could do this. And this kind of an experiment will fail. What is the use of teaching gaming to children? So these were all the questions that I had to face when I thought about this program. But when we actually implemented it, the confidence which it built up in these children was amazing to see. And some of them have even designed very good games which are right now being developed. Like they developed rural type of games. They had farmer games and contextual, where they put their surroundings into the experience that they could do. And they thought, and they today they're very confident. They say, okay, tomorrow I can be a software engineer myself. I can do this. I can have a future in that direction. So this is the kind of hope that we could give. And recently we've again expanded the program and concluded about 2,000 more students have been trained in that coding classes. So they are moving to advanced Python now. So imagine the power of digital access. Initially, we used to think trainers have to come. So we have also thought on our feet, and the COVID has phenomena has also taught us that offline education can reach the farthest corners. We might think some specialized educational programs will be center specific. Like if you have a bigger center, a bigger city, bigger education center, that's where you can have this system. But this could prove that if you can take on digital education properly, you can reach out to the farthest and also show them the world and see that they compete with the best of the best which are out there. So this in a way has had positive results for people in Narayanpet also, I should say. So I hope we can come up with better and more innovative solutions in that sphere, and also see that now we're thinking of having these competitive exam preparation also on online mode, so that because we don't get the teachers here, we don't get the specialist teachers here, but we can have that, and this provides different windows of opportunity to the students in rural areas.
Amazing. We are glad to know those life skills and especially the kind of confidence that's been instilled, especially in coding. And now they are advancing towards much advanced this thing, which has a lot of opportunities out there in the market. Uh, and the kind of size of students that have been trained is also amazing in places like, which is basically considered as a rural part of the state. Before we come to the conclusion of the session, now I would like to come to both Dr. Chandrasekhar and also Mr. Sinha. That when we talk about standards, people say the quality comes with a cost. Now, what are the administrative and business challenge, Dr. Chandrasekhar?
Yeah. See, when it comes to your standards, agreed that it comes with a cost, but let us not forget it also comes with the scale. When you have scale on your side, then the cost or the fact of the cost will come down drastically. So I think it's a completely business decision. When I say business, it's not about profit, it's not about the loss I'm talking here, but I'm talking about the managerial decision of making the entire concept work. So we need to make sure that we achieve our cost by expanding our scale. Now, keeping this in mind, let us not forget that the focus should be on the standard. Now, there has been enough and more debates on the fact that, okay, there are schools which are charging more and there are schools which are charging less. Now, I think in a short span of time, you cannot really take any side and talk about it from their favor. I mean, let's face the reality. I mean, if you want to operate a school in a city like Hyderabad, the cost of real estate, because the real estate does not come cheap to any operator. It is not that there are educational zones where private schools can go and set it up and then run it so that they can reduce or subsidize the cost. It doesn't work that way. So I think in the current reality, we need to focus on increasing the scale and thereby keeping the cost in check. Now, a case in point is if you are able to create an environment where you are known for your academic rigor, you are known for your holistic development, you're known for the value based services you are giving. For example, as Dr. Pratima Sinha said, life skills. Can we focus on life skills in a very gamified manner? Can children take it and enjoy that? Or for that matter, innovation and entrepreneurship skills, because that's the most important requirement as the students gear up for the 21st century. So these are the things we need to bring in to standardize it. And the best part is what technology can do, because the scale factor which I mentioned at the beginning can be achieved at a very very fast rate through technology. I mean, whatever examples we have heard from Mrs. Harichandana as well as Dr. Pratima Sinha and many others which we have read in the newspapers and others is, I mean, today, for example, we did a youth parliament in Nagpur. Why I say Nagpur is Nagpur was a host school, but it actually happened virtually, and across the country, and for that matter, across the subcontinent, I will say we had participants coming from Bangladesh, from Nepal, from Middle East, and even Sri Lanka and others, because we wanted them to get a flavor of the political system in India and what children think about it, because there is a myth that the youngsters are not interested in politics. The youth are not interested in policies. But I will tell you, I was surprised and pleasantly surprised when I heard some of the people who were representing different political parties, because they came from different parts of the country, some in the south, some in the north, some in the west, and some in the east, and the way they spoke about the farmer protest which is going on, right? The way they came up with solutions. And I mean, people say that parties don't meet eye to eye on certain issues, but these students, for that 2 3 4 days, they were representing their parties, but at the same time they are able to sit across and have a consensual discussion. They are able to have a kind of a amicable resolution to the whole issue. So the point what I'm trying to make here is technology can bring different people from different corners of the world and thereby contribute to your scale, and because of that you are able to cut your cost and still keep the standard. So the whole formula is simple, that you leverage on your scale to keep the cost. And also another last point which I would like to make is, we need to also keep in mind that standard is not something which is temporary. Standard is something which is permanent, and to accomplish permanent standards, or at least lasting standards, you need to put in some amount of money and investment of time, resources, and energy. they all will cost us. And if you are choosing to be in this space, then I think it comes as part of the package. So we need to take that up and then keep going forward. It's not that, okay, I am here for a quick 3 4 5 year of quick buck, I make my money and then go. Because I always say this, if you're here to make quick money, then I think education or running a school is not something which you should venture into. But there are many other, I mean, look at I'm a business management graduate, so I can talk about Zomato. I can talk about others. I mean, look at Zomato, with a loss-making company, but having great valuation and getting into public issues. Now, you want to make money, go there. But here you are making careers, you're making minds, you're making character. So you need to know what you are doing here and then bring cost, standard, scale into picture.
Yes, absolutely. You rightly mentioned this is not the place for the business. Uh, Now I would come to Mr. Sinha. A quick take
So,
between.
yeah, a very, very quick takeaway. See, so every school for that matter would like to give its best to the students, right? To the parents. So all the stakeholders, they would like to give their best. Now, but everybody has got their own budget limitations. Yes, we also have actually our budget for 2018-19 was already ready, the financial budget, because we planned it for next 3 years kind of. But yes, pandemic, unbalanced the whole thing. We had to heavily invest in technology, and if see, every school likes to give the best to the students. With so many new initiatives that are coming up every day, we have someone or the other calling us that we are coming up with this, and we like every program. I really enjoy, watching the demos, and I want to, invest in it and bring it to my students. But yes, because of the limitations of the budget and the costing, we cannot take everything. But whatever we do, we keep in mind that whatever we are giving to our students should be of the best quality and standard. That is what is I believe in.
Absolutely right. The best quality education, that is what should be and would be the ultimate agenda of an educator or an institution that's imparting education. So, with this, that's been a wonderful discussion both on the standards of education, at the same time, the training of teachers, providing standard education to the students, and at the same time, we touched upon administrative and business challenge. Dr. Chandrasekhar actually was sounding like a business person who giving out solutions, and we're glad to know. Also, the various initiatives that's been taken up in the Narayanpet district. Glad that in the rural area, the technology is reaching the confidence is being instilled in the students, and it's in a good scale. 1200 is a good number, and they are going advancing towards an advanced course. With this, we come to an end, and uh, we would like to proudly present a token of appreciation to our speakers here. First, to our special guest speaker, senior NIOS officer, Srimati Harichandana Dasari, Collector, Narayanpet District, Government of Telangana. And we would like to proudly present a speaker certificate to Dr. Chandrashekhar DP, CEO, JGI Schools. Thanks for joining, Dr. Chandrasekhar. And we're also proudly presenting the speaker certificate to Dr. Pratima Sinha. She is CEO, DSR Education Society. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us from out of your busy schedule. Thanks for joining us.